The real estate market often seems like a distant world where only an elite of experts is successful. In a time of so much uncertainty in the air and bad news, realist investing can seem intimidating. But today, I want to tell you that if you make the right decision today, you can enter the real estate market from the back door. Bad credit record? No credit at all. Do you dread the idea of having a home loan? Do you dream of owning investment properties? You are in the right place and right time, because we have created a program which is a tax lien and deed investment online course of only 14 hours. This course is specially designed for people like you who have big dreams. You will learn at your own pace and everything from your home computer. This is your chance. Join our membership for $19.99 a year. What are you waiting for? Visit our website primetimehomebuyerBuyback.org and sign up today for course access.
Blessings, blessings. Welcome to Primetime Home Buyers, and I'm your host, Lady Lashley. Today, we're going to be starting back our seminar, our Atlanta Strong Economic Development Seminar, where we host a seminar every Wednesday at the Fulton County Library, located at the Adams Park Branch Library. Also, where I host different seminars related to investing in alternative real estate. So what we're doing, what we're hosting free to you guys. The link is at the bottom if you want to sign up for next week, is an economic development seminars for leaders. Now we know we're in strange times, guys. We're in really strange times. So it's very important for us to be strategic. Now, I want to send a shout out to the Black community. I will say, in the midst of all of these hardships, all of these negative stimuli that's going on throughout our federal administration, we have been holding it down. We have not been lashing out, which they have been trying to provoke us. We have been watching the dismantlement of our history, of our school systems, and many other things. So, what we want to do is counteract some of that activity by preparing and strategically planning. And the way we do that is by changing our mindset. So the series that you're going to be seeing every Wednesday for the next 5 Wednesdays is going to be focused on the Black community leaders. So if you're a leader, hit the like button. These seminars are for you. So today, what we're going to be talking about is lifting up economic development strategies for low income communities. I don't like the term low income communities. I call it, how can I say, conservative communities. So before we get into that, I just want to give you our objective at Primetime Home Buyers. My my objective is to provide strategies to sustain sustainable change and realistic change in the Black community. Okay. So one of our objectives is investing in education and work development. That's some of the topics that we're going to go into, which involves strengthening local schools, skill training, early childhood education. All right, then we're going to go into our next objective, which is promoting entrepreneurship and small business development. Once we get our structure set up when it comes to education and what we need and what we're lacking, that's when you focus on entrepreneurship, small business development, micro loans, grants, business incubators, these type of things that can help our community, younger people and people who are on a budget actually start to get into the business realm by creating these avenues where they can get together and strategically plan and implement. Okay, and targeted support for minorities. Um, we're going to call, and I think I'm going to focus on targeted support by self-sustaining. Okay. The last but not least objective of these series is improving infrastructure and accessibility. And yes, improving infrastructure and accessibility is not just our government responsibility. It is our responsibility to see what we're lacking in our community as far as transportation, parks and recs, community development program, learning programs for the seniors, for creating jobs for our college students, high school students. That's improving infrastructure and accessibility. And that's things that we have to think about on a community level as leading to us being able to apply for grants. doing business with the government to pull some of that tax money back into our pockets. So that makes sense. So that's the objective of our series that you're going to be seeing for the next couple of weeks. Now, today, what we're going to be just focusing on, understanding the challenges, development strategic strategies for lower income communities. So far too long, economic opportunities have been evenly distributed. Even if we get grants and things like that, we sometimes lack the accessibility because we're not told about it or we don't seek the information. So that's some of the things that we have to objectively pay attention to. Um, leaving lower income communities struggling with systematic disadvantages. Breaking the cycles require targeted and innovative economic development strategies that address the unique challenges these areas face. That's our areas. This isn't just about charity, because, like I said, this is about us self sustaining, being able to pull that income from the sources that are already there by learning the system, learning whatever loopholes they have, and finding our way to get into that. And that's what we're going to be talking about as the series continues. Okay. So this is not just about charity, it's about unlocking untapped potential, fostering sustainable growth, and building a more equitable society. All right. Now, some of the things we're going to look at is lack of access of capital, the skills gap that we face in the Black community, infrastructure deficiencies, limited educational opportunities, ways that we can create it, health disparities, how can we counteract it, and system barriers. So that's kind of like what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to go into business growth and finishing off with community well-being. All right. Now, thank you for being here today. If you need the information for next week, series. Next week's seminar will be down. You can sign up on Eventbrite. So, understanding the challenge, lack of accessibility to capital. Access to capital is usually the issue. Limited access to loans, investments, grants, cycle, and entrepreneur and business growth. That's why. That's why. That's why it's That's why it's good to be creative. Now, I'm going to share with you. It's a Sometimes we think that the best way is just to go the conventional way, the mainstream way, but there's a lot of opportunities on a federal, state, and on a local level when it comes to doing business with the government, and that can be applying for contracts as well as woman-owned based minority business or minority-owned business, going in and getting certified, doing seminars to get certified and being able to be a contractor. So these are some of the ways that I want you guys to start expanding your mind because they are strategically implemented. So once you choose a route, like if you want to get grants, you want to learn that method and pretty much crush it. You want to learn as much as possible for people who are skilled, people who have been successful in it, no matter their shape, color, or form. If you have to pay for education, pay for it and keep it because that's something that you'll have in your brain forever. And you can continue to how can I say cookie cutter the stamp method that you create either or and I say loans, looking for loans, grants, or investment partners. Sometimes they have services like secret and how can I say what did they say? It is crowdfunding. So I will leave some of that links down here for you. I have went over a few video about crowdfunding websites, which is pretty good, pretty simple for you to set up. And we can also set up crowdfunding websites for our own community. So these are some ideas where we can actually set up and do it properly. Okay, so another issue that we face is the skills gap. A mismatch between the skills needed for available jobs and the skills possessed by the local workforce can lead to high unemployment. Now, just for example, I was just watching something about, I believe it is in Mississippi. And in Mississippi, there's a community that's suffering right now. Allegedly, it is not allegedly, I watched a documentary related to a plant that Elon Musk had. And in this plant, he's creating whatever he's creating, but it's taking a lot of energy. And the energy source that he has created is creating a lot of pollution in the area. And there has been health issues. Okay, so with that goes to say, I bring that up because we have to be aware of what type of businesses are coming into our community. One, is it a health risk? We have to know the ins and outs of these environmental friendly businesses allegedly, or if it's something that our community need that people within our community can actually apply for. Like for example, I give an example, they have an NJ Pack in Jersey. And the NJ Pack, it created a lot of jobs for people within the community because they have an ice rink, a big ice rink. They also have like a place where they can host events. So they hire caterers, servers, people to do the ticker masters, and opening up jobs, just entry level jobs, if that. So you want to make sure whatever comes in to your community that it fulfills the skills that you already have and things that you can build on. So that's some of the stuff. Infrastructure deficiencies. We have a lot of infrastructure deficiencies. Well, in where I'm from originally, when I think of some infrastructure deficiencies. We're talking about potholes, streets that's messed up. It's good as far as transportation in some communities, but some communities is not good with transportation. So coming from right now, being in Georgia, there's many places that don't have buses. You got to be in Metro Atlanta, things like that. These are services that we can create. There are services that they created in Atlanta. Now I see it's two shuttle buses that go from one area of Georgia, which is Macon, down into Columbus and stops in the middle into Atlanta for people who are traveling and goes to the airport. That's just some of the ideas when it comes to infrastructure deficiency. It doesn't even have to only just be physically, as far as um, getting buildings or historical buildings or properties from our county and revitalizing it. That's one way, but I'm just talking about other infrastructure issues that we can address ourselves and create businesses. Like I had to give you an example. I'm from Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. If y'all from Brooklyn, y'all know. They used to have them dollar vans all over. So the Caribbean people made their way up and down Flatbush with dollar vans, and the buses had some, relief, and regular people was making money. Okay. So limited educational opportunities. Now that's something that we're gonna have to create for ourselves. I'm gonna be honest. Under-resourced schools and limited access to higher education restrict upward mobility. So we already see right now what's going on the federal level, how they're trying to dismantle the whole school system, the support coming from the federal level, which is taking a lot of funding for needed programs like um, I would say EPE plan, educational plans for our kids, programs that funds autistic programs that funds teachers assistants. We're losing a half of that funding, and we were already suffering as a community or as people in the United States, no matter what community you're from, unless you're paying for private education, where you can pick and choose what type of curriculum your kids receive. Okay, so the limited educational opportunities is something that we have to address. And what I will say, if you do become a little history buff, you will learn how our people actually exit out of the Jim Crow era. We really strive to learn and read and educate ourselves, and we had a lot of highly scholared academic it wasn't called centers, but homes, location where we strive for excellence. And that's what allow a lot of communities like the Black Wall Street, as well as Oscarville, other places like that to strive because of the educational values. So they never were able to depend on the system. That's why I think a lot of us in the Black community are kind of like just sitting back laughing because we pretty much know we couldn't depend on where our tax dollar was going. Sad but true. But now that it's facing us in our face, we should be more aware than just talking about it, making moves. So health disparities is another challenge that we face. And that is something that I think a lot of Black nurses, doctors, physical therapists, home health aid, people who want to get in the health sector really want to look into the market of creating their own. We don't have a black owned hospital. And I know some people feel like, oh, why you have to have a black owned hospital? But not even putting that label on it, most of the hospitals that we have across the United States is European owned. And it's based on a Eurocentric foundation, me being a healthcare provider, nurse, and we suffer a lot of the healthcare disparities because we're not focusing our resources on actually researching for our own people, actually trying to learn from other nations that share the same genetic codons as us, that they found things effective. So we have to expand our horizons as well as start to create. Now, another challenge in the Black community is system barriers. Historically and ongoing discriminatory practice can limit access to housing, employment, and other vital resources. What we know, but we're not here to complain. We're here to make it happen. We've been living it, and I think we got pretty comfortable in that. And it's sad. I mean, comfortable meaning like not that we like it, but at this point we know how to maneuver around it and make it happen. So when it comes to saying Black people know how to live in poverty, we okay. We know how to make it happen. We have got it, lost it, got it, lost it. But what we want to do is get it, sustain it, and keep it. Okay, strategies for sustainable change. Okay, so again, investing in education and workforce development, promoting entrepreneurship and small business development, improving infrastructure accessibility, fostering community engagement and empowerment. That's what we're doing right now. Fostering community engagement and empowerment. And it's not about just hearing the words, it's actually listening to some of the words and the concept that we're going to bring to you over the next couple of weeks and applying it to your life. A lot of the things that we talk about is going to be abstract, so you're going to be able to apply it to different sectors of your life. It's a mind frame thing, attracting investment and job creations. So the more innovative we are and the more positive we are, no matter what, people are going to attract to it. There has been a lot of things that has been created by us that has not been patented. We're going to do Black History, but as well as there's a lot of things that we have sold in our community as, just for a quick profit. And we have to remember that we have to improve our infrastructure. We have to attract investment but keep what we had and build on it. Learn how to negotiate, learn how to create partnerships with other entities, but let it be fair contracting, okay? And that's how we're going to create jobs, opportunities for each other. The bigger you get, the more you need, okay? And that's how we do skills building. And I was talking to one of the representatives when I went to the Clayton County government acquisition forum. And I was saying, hey, okay, so you have this business where you fix government trucks. Okay, how do people get into your business? How do young people get in? Do you offer an educational bridge program? And he's like, they got to go to school. They got to get doing. So how they do it when they don't have the money? So these are the bridge that we have to create within our business to really think expansively, so we can kind of bring the people who want to be in the industry in at a younger age and create more sustainability as more income as well. Not charging what the regular school does, but some way somehow when you create those type of um, extra, how can I say, services within your business, you can find some type of government funding because you're actually fulfilling a need for the number of people within a certain area. And that's not even based on color. That's just based on government contracting, what they need to get certain community sustainability and what they need in it. Does that make sense? So we want to be able to create those services, measuring success and encouraging accountability. Okay. Now I think the first I'm have to say one of our issues in the Black community is that we measure success first and we don't encourage accountability. When we see somebody looking nice, driving nice, got a nice car, or know how to do a good TikTok video, Instagram video, that's where we measure success, and that's dangerous. What I say, Bill Gates wasn't on TikTok. Elon Musk, now he on TikTok, but you know what I'm saying. Multi-millionaires, you don't usually see them on these public platforms bragging and boasting. And that's just one example of measuring success. But measuring success is actually what the business have done or what is the business potential. Because sometimes you have not done a lot. The person that you're interested in may have not done a lot, but you see that they have a good structured program or a good structured idea, and you have did your due diligence. That was part of our beginner seminar that we did a couple of weeks ago. Take a look back at those videos, doing your due diligence, measuring the investments that you're getting into, holding them up to par, not just jumping into stuff. So measuring success correctly in a Black community is a great defect that we had in ensuring accountability. We we ride the wheels till the wheels fall off if we like somebody. No, 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 it's not them. But it's actually, you have to measure the person by what they do, not by what they say. And that's something that I had to learn. And it really helped me out in my adulthood because growing up in an environment where you heard a lot more than what you saw, it made me realize that substance comes from what you actually do. You know, someone can say, you the best, you the best, you the best, but don't treat you like the best. Okay. You know, that's what we gotta look for. Or my company is the best, the best, the best, but it's not reflecting the practices. It has people complaining about it. We ignore it. We should not do those type of things. We have to listen to the community, make sure that we are aware of what's going on with the company we're investing in. And that's the same thing that I feel for the other nations. That's why sometimes some places I don't invest in no more, buy from. Like example, I don't invest in or buy from H&M because I heard they have sweat factories. I don't care what color they are. It's a morality thing. So that's something that we really have to step up in the Black community. Okay. Next, investing in education and workforce development. Yes, we have to do it, but we have to be mindful. And as I told people, I've saw a lot over the last couple of years, especially in the other Trump administration, that really bolstered a lot of Black people to start businesses and follow gurus. And I was in that time establishing prime time home buyer. And we made it throughout that without being discredited, called in scams or anything, because what we did was invest in education and workforce development that was strategic, that was very mindful of the people needs. Okay, and with that goes to say you want to look for things that has substance and it don't always have to cost a lot because if something have sometimes I'm not saying like things have to be cheap, but I think we have to learn how to maneuver in our market when it comes to the things that we sell. That would be another live, but we have to learn how to price and value the things that we, embark on. So strengthening local schools, funding for funding for resources, teacher training, and innovative programs can improve educational outcomes. Yes, it could. We fund the schools enough with our taxes, obviously. What I'm talking about in that is after school programs, you can create it yourself. Homeschool based programs, you can actually do online programs, which I did with my kids for majority of their high school year, their whole high school year, a little bit of their middle school. It was a hard role, but with the structurized program that they were on and online, it already provided a more advanced curriculum that was flexible to their need, as well as self-driven, and it was communication there between myself and the staff when needed, but it was a very self-driven, so they had those type of things where you can strengthen local schooling by implementing that. If you feel like your school and your kids community is not meeting the par, or it's more trouble to have your kids in school and they're not learning, then I think that's something that we have to think about as a community as well, and understand that when you're a captive people, your captors will not teach you more than you need to know. You're going to have to do that yourself. Okay. Now, moving forward, so we'll talk about educational development, workforce training, because we have other seminars that's coming up that's going to deep dive into some of this. Okay, skill training. Okay, and apprenticeship. That's exactly what I was just talking about. For instance, the guy do government contracts with the government cleaning and fixing their truck. Do you have an apprenticeship program for high school people? you probably could get funding for that. That's something that you can do through your business. It takes a little work to establish it, but like I said, if you take your time and learn one thing at a time, once you implement it, it'll be worth it. So I always advise use trainings, go to in services, get on mailing lists, learn from everybody and everything. Okay. So providing targeted training programs that align with local industry needs can bridge the skill gap and create pathways, well paying jobs. We have a lot of industry needs, especially because of all the things they were doing with migration. And it's not just farming, but it's also building homes, it's actually with plumbing and heating. A lot of immigrants that you call migrants or immigrants, they are very skilled. They were very skilled in these things. So we reap the benefits of a lot of these luxuries, not the benefits, kind of catch 22, because inflated benefits for what they created at a lower rate based on their skills. But with that being said, we have to create the educational programs to fill that. So one of the things I do stress is bringing back um, basically like plumbing, electric, HVAC, things like that to your community, even if, for instance, my son knew someone who was doing HVAC, and he was telling him a lot about it, and kind of trying to apprentice him into that industry. So just you as an individual, if you know someone who's interested, you can provide them with resources. That's apprenticeship right there, right there. Okay, and then you can do a little boomity video, and teach the people around your neighborhood, sell it for 1.99. I'm always coming up with some way to hustle, okay? And they go up there and learn how to get started. You know how you got started. You go and start your page, those type of stuff. Early childhood education, investment in early childhood education programs can provide a strong foundation for the future. Yes, okay. One thing I did not let my kids say was the word bored. From when they got into preschool to second grade, yeah, they always had extra homework. I'm not, don't traumatize them, but get on them, okay? They always had extra homework, meaning like, because the school would give them something, then I'll give them a few pages in their grade book that I will order online or from the dollar store. I don't know if they still have a lot of them, but that's what they used to have. And I'll buy $2 books for them, things like that. And they'll just do the puzzles and do things. It could be fun, it could be coloring, something that's going to keep them learning and thinking as well. So early childhood education is not only just putting them into an institution, is what you say and do. Even just minor interactions with babies, because I'm a ped nurse. So what I love to do is just say, little things, nose, eyes, ears. This baby 2 months. Start early. Okay, their brain is very formable, and you want your kids to be smarter than you. I promise you. It's better that way. Okay? It's better that way. They cook better than you too. Can't wait to get older. They're gonna cook for me every day, every day. All right. Now we're working our way through it. Thank you for being here. If you don't remember, my name is Lady Lashley. I'm the owner of Primetime Home Buyers, where I help you invest in alternative real estate. If you're interested in tax liens, tax deeds, foreclosures, um, sheriff sale, doesn't matter. What I do is provide seminars on demand for you guys to learn the skills you need to be successful and safe, just in case you come into any bumps in the road, as well as making sure you do your due diligence. So that's what we do here. We're running it like a school. The things they didn't teach us, that's what we filled in for you on demand. So that's what I do. I'm also a legal nursing consultant in my day job, and I'm also a legal real estate consultant. It's because I love law. So that's one of the seminars that we actually offer you guys, where you'll learn the foundation of researching law and where to find real estate law, and that's pertaining to our prime time home buyers, okay? And that is applicable for anyone who wants to know the foundations of law, because I took a lot of the skills that I've learned about legal nursing consultant and finding the foundations of that law, and I mutated it for you guys. Okay, so it's a great, great seminar. Please check it out. Now, promoting entrepreneurship and still small business development. And I say small because that's the catchy frame, but I want to say business development because your business is not small. Your business is your business, and you always have to plan big for it. Okay, so microloans and grants providing access to capital for aspiring entrepreneurs can help them launch and grow their business. Example, I can put at the bottom of this video. ACE Women Center. That is one of the affiliates that I have dealt with in the past and still now. They have a lot of free seminars on demand about business creation, loan creation, marketing, and all types of stuff. And it works just like the Small Business Administration, and it worked with the Small Business Administration in Atlanta. And I know no matter what state you're at, you have a Small Business Administration that have free resources for you. So sign up and just do what you got to do. Business incubators, okay, offering mentorship resources and network opportunities can support the success of startups. Yes. Again, you guys even have shirt businesses, things like that. I know we like to do everything ourselves, but make sure that when you grow your businesses and you bring the younger people along, maybe someone in your neighborhood want to learn the skill and kind of see they need a little bit of mentorship. Not only can you use that as a time of mentorship, but also skill building. And maybe if that's not what they like, point them into the direction that they may need to go. This is some of the concepts that we have to implement in the Black community. It's no more. We don't really have to talk about it. We just got to be about it. Targeted support for minorities, women, men-owned businesses, and they still have this on the state level and a federal level, I will hope. But right now, the resources that many of us have will be on the state level and local level. So you look for those resources, as I told you, as I mentioned to you before, the grants that they offer for small businesses for counties to address their needs. And y'all think dealing with the government is just doing creating buildings and structurizing stuff? No, I was told about one contract that a young lady received that I worked with a couple of years ago, and it was literally for making tassels for the graduation class. Okay, does that make sense? Sorry for the interruption. We feel good?
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. So don't underestimate yourself. The buildings need to be furnished. They need to be supplied with plants. They need to be supplied with window men, installers, elevator contractors. I can think of so much. And these are some of the things that the government contract for. So don't always think that is like that much out of pocket. All right, you just gotta look. Now, business, okay, so now target support. Okay, so now let's move forward. We halfway through. Thank you for being here. Okay, so improving infrastructure and accessibility, investing in transportation, as we talked about. When I talked about the dollar bins in Brooklyn, now I know some places put regulations on what can happen, so you have to know your regulations for certain things. But taxi service, transportation services, infrastructures can connect residents to job, healthcare, and other essential services. Um, Expanding broadband access, high-speed internet access is crucial for education, employment, and economic opportunities in the digital age. Yes, I'm going to give you a great idea. Just having business hubs or after-school hubs. What is that? Places where people of certain age groups or whatever can congregate in and access internet, the Wi-Fi, and some computers, and maybe some books or maybe some room where they can do a seminar. They don't always have to be a library. And you can provide that at reasonable prices, and actually have events outside. So expanding broadband access can really do a lot for our community because this is something I was thinking about a while ago, but it was during the COVID. I was like, people stuck in the house, they don't want to go. And now people outside, they like to congregate, they like to lounge, they like to do those type of things, especially around the college. Now, this type of plan, as I'm just throwing out, will be good for people who, and it's not muted, right? Okay, so for people who are close to colleges, close to people who who live in apartment buildings, those type of things. You got to kind of scope out the market. You just don't jump and do stuff. That's why we deep dive before we invest. Okay. And again, developing, not again, but again, the most important part is developing affordable housing, ensuring access to safe and affordable housing can improve the stability as well, and well-being of families. Now, this is something that is very important in the Black community, um, or in the low-income community, no matter if it's Black at this point, because what I have been aware of is that now, even in what they used to call a minority Black community, we have people who are suffering from the economy, and you find other nations that's pouring into here, the east side of Atlanta, all types of places where you would never think, where they're literally living in the hood. Well, people what they call it because that's what they could afford now because everything is so inflated, and our pay didn't go up. So developing affordable housing is something that we have to do, obviously, and this is something that I have been pushing. I have been pushing this for the last couple of years of learning about tax liens and tax deed sales, learning about investing in foreclosures. That's kind of a higher investment, but I'm talking about the little guy like me and you, going to the sheriff's, going to the land bank, and all of these lower level entry ways to enter into the real estate market can be done by you, but you have to do your due diligence because you don't want to get condemned property, things that you can't build on, things that you have one idea, this type of stuff. This is what we talk about in my program. This is what we offer. Okay, this type of information. So we have to find an innovative ways to create affordable housing, and that's not going to be done by our government, obviously, or the private investors. Because if you live in Atlanta, they already said it. We'll put a little video at the bottom. Atlanta is pretty much gentrified at this point. The cost of living has skyrocketed. 30 to 35% is owned by the private sector right now. And yeah, the tables have turned. Okay, so I'm going to share that information with you guys. So how can we strategically turn that over? And that's by investing in tax liens, tax deeds, foreclosures, share sales, or land banks. Okay? That's all I'm telling you. Hmm. And we move forward. All right. Please hit the like button if you like the information that I share. If you find it pertinent and valuable, please share it with the people who will take heed to some of this information. Okay? Fostering community engagement. That's what I'm saying right here about liking and sharing. So we can empower each other. Community leads and incentives. The community led incentive, and this is what I'm doing. This is a community led incentive. It is me, myself, and my business that is taking the funding, the time to promote this, to put things together. So it has to be community led. It's good to get, like you said, funding and help, but you need to make sure that your values are set forth in the community. Investing in projects that are designed and implemented by the community members ensure that solutions are tailored to local needs. You want to not only bring private investors in because that's big money, but you need the people within the community to be able to invest as well, be part of the community development. And that is by one, educate, apprenticeship, creating opportunities, targeting the people that wants to learn what, and you creating mentorships. Okay, it starts with us. Building social capital, fostering strong community networks and relationships, create support systems, and enhance economic opportunities. Again, fostering strong community networks. I know this person. They have a lot of hubs in Atlanta that I have learned about. Where if you get part of an organization, they have like 3,000 people who are business owners, and they kind of exchange each other information, services, and it's a recommendation service. So that's just an example of building social capital. That's social capital. That's the assets that we talked about in building assets strategically in the beginner's economic course that we had a couple of weeks ago. So assets is not only money, physical capital, or tangible items. It is just the relationships, the people you keep around you. Okay. Promoting financial literacy. And that's what we're doing here. Providing access to financial education, it can empower individuals to make informed decisions about their finances. We don't want to what happened back in the other, how can I say, Trump era, where we all ran and got into these things that wasn't really lucrative, that we wanted to get generational wealth today, right now, and can I make $1 million? That's not realistic. So we have to promote financial literacy, where we're able to ask the hard questions, the real questions, because that's what structure rise transparency, accountability, and a good system that's going to thrive for generations to come. Okay. Now, attracting investments and creating jobs, tax incentive in enterprise zones, offering incentives to business that locate and create jobs in lower income areas can simulate economic growth. Again, if you go into the board meetings in your town, they have new development coming, you want to know if it's a college coming, if it's new storefronts coming, can you guys invest in the shopping area that they have? Now, I'm gonna give an example. If they had a college, you can probably have property in the area and co-op with the college and rent places out to the college, those type of things. So you want to be aware of the tax incentive enterprise zones that's going on. So attend your local board meetings, get to know your public officials, okay? Because that's the way you're going to have to be able to mold and shape what's going on in your area. Public-private partnerships. It's important, but you have to know contracts. You want to make sure that you're not collaborating to a point that you are losing your original vision or losing control of what you originally created. Collaborating with private sector partners can leverage resources and expertise to drive economic development. These are some of the things that you'll find in some of the grants that they offer. If you go on grant.com, some of the grants that's offered by like Chase Bank, um, that's so many different places. They offer partnership and mentorship and expertise. So with the grant, sometimes they say they want you as a small business owner to get a mentor within a program because they want to make sure that you'll be able to leverage the information and expand. Some of the grants on grants.com allow you to do that. Focus on sustainable industries. What is sustainable? What's going to last a long time? I know we have a lot of fads that's going on, but one of the things that's going to last and growing is AI. Now we have to figure out how we're going to integrate ourselves with AI without it overpowering us. I'll be honest. So while it's still growing, you want to find innovative ways to learn how to use it, learn how it works. One of the things that I have found that was good with AI is sometimes if you go on Chat GPT and you put a topic in, it'll break down the whole subject matter for you, and you can read it and get a good idea. And you can take that as an outline and emphasize on each part of it. And that's how I kind of back teach myself. That's how I learned how to teach myself as a young girl. So while AI is enhancing, I'm doing the same thing. So the knowledge that it points me to, I go learn how to integrate that and use it. Does that make sense? So that's some of the things that we're going to have to learn how to do as far as sustainable industries that's happening now, as well as we want to make sure that we keep certain things important. And I'm talking about books. I'm talking about reading and writing. That is very important. Um, in the competitive world of AI, we are losing our skills of reading and writing because we have a lot of talk text. We have, yeah, you don't have to read or write. And that is losing our skills as human beings because that's how our brain works. If we don't use it, we lose it. So we have to continue. That's why I said if I use Chat GTP or any AI thing, if I'm going to put a subject in it, I'm going to go deep and use it and put it together and read it and kind of make it my own. And if I have some grammarly issues, it can help you out. But you understand the subject matter that you are embarking on. All right. And we're getting towards the end. I want to say thank you for being with us today. I hope some of the concepts that we've been talking about has been very helpful for you. If you do like what Lady Lashley is sharing, please hit the like button as well as sign up for our next week's seminar. We're here for the next 5 weeks for this particular economic development seminar, and then we're going to get our series of alternative real estate seminars taking place um, in Atlanta. Okay, for free, free, free. We about to get y'all in the market. Okay. So measuring success, ensuring accountability. That is red light. The red light. We have issues in the Black community. We cannot measure success based on just what we see, what they say. It's what they do. Obviously, you had a lot of say, a lot of what you saw with Trump, and look what you got. No, I'm not saying that. You know what it does. But anyway, you see what I'm saying. Okay. Now, what he did doing is remarkably different. But if you looked at his last administration, you wouldn't think that this is too far fetched. And I'm just giving you a general example of how to measure accountability and measure success. Okay. Look at the history. I know we have a forgiving nature, but you can't forgive everything, especially when they don't repent. Moving forward, job creation and wage growth. Measuring the number of jobs created and increasing in average wage indicates the effectiveness of employment focus incentives. Obviously, that's not happening in America right now because job creation is not increasing the average wages for some apparent reason. And that's the concept we have to think about. The more job creation we are able to do because we have more productivity, our product is good. We have something that's honorable and sustainable. Does that make sense? Poverty reduction, that's the main goal of this. So we won't call it low income community anymore. Does that make sense? Tracking changes in poverty rates provides a broad indicator of overall impact of economic development efforts. That's when I say go in as a community leader and see what's going on in your community. What does it lack? What's the numbers of this in this industry in your area? What is the numbers of graduation rate in your area? At least start with the statistics so you can tackle that particular issue effectively. So poverty reduction could come from school graduate, not non-graduation. You can create after school programs, things like that, post or pre-high school graduation mentorship program, those type of things. Poverty reduction, also mentorship, as we talk about making accessibility. People be able to use your transportation bus that's cheaper than an Uber. Yeah, I was hearing Uber $50 for some places. Oh, I'm done. But these type of things, we have to create the competitive market because basically they are taking over the whole industry. You see what I'm saying? Because we're going to use in one entity. No. Educational attainment, mentoring, monitoring graduation rates that we talked about, college enrollment, other educational outcomes demonstrates the success of education focused programs. Now, mentor program rates, college enrollment. I want you guys to understand that success is going to look a little different in everybody's life. And we right now we have to find a way to be more effective with education obtaining. Because as you can see, people in the community who are billionaires, they don't have this high level of education through Harvard and these big old bills. So all of our youth and all everybody don't have to go to a conventional college, but it's very important for you to be skill building in whatever industry you're in, having something that you can take to with you no matter wherever you go, and it's actually applicable to society and helps sustainability. So even if you like one thing, I always say do something else that's just sustainable for society that you know will always make you money. You may not like it the best, but it's easy for you and you can do it. Does that make sense? I always say have more things in your basket, tools in your basket, so you can just pull them out when you need them. Okay. Business growth, tracking business growth. We have to start formally paying attention to that. Some places that we thought were doing really good wasn't because we wasn't tracking business growth. We were just following, we were measuring success by what we saw on TikTok. We didn't see any paperwork. We didn't see. any stocks. We didn't see any financial statements. We didn't look for none of them. Anything. We didn't ask for that type of stuff. We have to ask the hard questions, okay? So tracking the number of new businesses created and growth of existing businesses indicate the success of entrepreneurship. That's why I said success is going to look different for everybody. It's not only just pushing our kids through a conventional European system, but the people who have went through that have to create their own system and make it more whatever you identify with minority based, okay? If you subscribe to black or whatever your nationality is, okay? We have to make it where we're going to be able to cater to our people, i.e., example, healthcare. I myself in my daytime, I do create health and wellness plans based on your genetics as well as your current diagnosis and your eating habits. That's some of the things that we have to do and to make our environment more eclectic, more suitable for our growth. Okay, and I think I'm getting down to the last few. Community well-being, measuring indicators such as the crime rates, health outcomes, housing affordability, providing holistic assessment of community well-being. We can't play around with it. We can't act like, oh, it's okay. And you seeing more and more abandoned houses on your property, more and more for, I mean, in your area, more and more foreclosure. You know the crime rate. You can go straight on Zillow and places like that and see the crime rate in the area and the statistics over it. Figure out what's happening. Start working with the local police department. Have a neighborhood watch at the end of the day. That's how you balance the power of that. Okay. Now, last but not least, we're coming into our conclusion, and I do want to say thank you for being with us today, being here for the 4 hour seminar. Okay? Conclusion. Economic development for lower income communities is not just a moral imperative, it's an economic necessity. Okay? By investing in education, entrepreneurship, infrastructure, and community empowerment, we can unlock potentials of these areas and create more purposeful and equitable society for us. Okay? It is require a long-term commitment. There's no $1 million today. It just takes time. Okay? Collaborative partnership, and that's what I'm asking. Please hit the like button, join us live. We have more seminars to offer and a focus on data driven decision making, not what we like, what's really happening by what the person or the entity is doing, not what they're saying. By working together, we can build stronger, more vibrant communities that offer opportunities for all residents to thrive. Okay, so that is our presentation for today. I hope that you got a lot of good concepts out of it. The reason why we're here today is because our goal is to empower the community with strategic ways of thinking, not only thinking, but implementing. Okay. And we do that by measuring our goals, being strategic, being mindful, striving for education, and budget and savings. Okay. So next week, what we're going to be doing, just to give you a heads up, our next topic next week, we're going to be going into development. I do apologize. Give me 1 second. You're going to be going into investing in education and workshop development and how to do it on a budget. Okay, and that's very important because we talk about we basically talk about our school systems being obsolete, our college systems being too expensive. I want to turn this off. You turn this off for a second. Off at this. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna close off by now I'm just gonna play a video real quick so they could see the video in the background. I do apologize, y'all. So basically I want you guys to I think I'm done. I don't show anything else. Get prepared for our next week's seminar. And like I said, we're going to be focusing on innovative ways to educate each other, such as this. I'm going to talk to you guys as business owners, some of the strategies that I use to get information out, things that you could implement in your communities, and ways we're building alliances, which turns into assets in our community. So, with that being said, thank you for being here with Lady Lashley. We'll see you Wednesday at 2 p.m.